Happy Devils Development Camp Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 12. I am your host, Sam Wu, here with Nick Villano, the editor-in-chief of Pucks and Pitchforks, a blog powered by Fansided. We are streaming live on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Let's Go Devils Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Let's Go Devils Pod. You can find us on YouTube Live on the Let's Go Devils channel. We got a big podcast tonight, Nick. There's a lot of information just going on about who did what at development camp, who looks good, who looks bad. And plus, we will have the infamous Vinnie Parise on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. Bobby's Auto Care, 2151 Route 57, beautiful Washington, New Jersey. Bobby's Auto Care, they're doing car alignments right now. Anyway, Nick, now that we just paid the bills, let's start off with Jack Hughes, since he is the man of the hour right now. How did he look in development camp today?
Well, Sam, it's nice to be here. You took away my whole introduction. You got it all planned. You're even talking for me at this point. We've only done a couple of these, and you're already speaking for me. This is, I guess, this is what chemistry feels like, huh? But I'll answer your question, because we want to jump right into it. It's late on a Wednesday. It's the middle of summer, but it's a Wednesday. What do you got better to do than talk Devils hockey? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Dream Boy Jack Hughes, Mr. America, Captain America, the man that's going to take the Devils to the promised land. He did nothing but dominate today, Sam. It was insanity. So
6
the way
points,
they did,
right? Is that what I'm hearing? 6 points in
I
the
believe
scrimmage?
so. Listen. I'm going to be honest. I don't care about points in these scrimmages because they're 3-on-3 scrimmages. Like, Jack Hughes made a through the legs pass and went right to a Devils defender, and it still made the highlight package because it would have been a terrible play in action. In an NHL game, it would have been awful. I hate no look passes in the NHL because they 90% of the time don't work. And the other 10% of the time they don't even end up in goals. But it was just kind of like, it was more like shinny today. Like, it was kind of like, oh, let's get out on the ice, let's have some fun. They put the goalies on like the two middle boards, so it's not, it's a really super small rink. And that kind of allows the skill to transcend because there's not a lot of, you didn't even get to see end-to-end speed, which is one of Jack Hughes' specialties, but you still just saw him. I'm trying to say this without, being FCC compliant, just because he made everybody look really, 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 really bad. And they took him away from all of his friends, so they forced him to build chemistry with other players, and he looked really good with Thompson. Tim and Thompson had some good chemistry. He made the one play where he just like stiff armed the defender, and then one-handed the stick over to Thompson for literally an empty net goal. Jack Hughes literally stole the show today.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's a testament to Jack Hughes. I mean, now that we're finally getting to development camp, now all the hoopla, all the celebration, all the trash talking, all that stuff, now that it's over, it's a testament to Jack Hughes that at such a young age, now they, parted ways and have him playing with other players. It's good to know what your assessment, Nick, is that he's making other players around him better, and not only better, but immediately it's already showing in development camp. So, and for me, this is all positive news, But yeah, I mean, that was the number one thing that I think a lot of these fans who waited around 6 a.m. to be the first 150 fans to get a picture and meet Jack Hughes, there were fans lining up around 6:45, and the line started to build around that time. And then I just want to say kudos to all the people who are listening that actually was there that early in the morning while I was just getting up, just about to brush my teeth, and realized I don't even have a prayer to see Jack Hughes. And I said, you know what? Like a fair weather fan, I said, forget it. I'm not waiting out there. Knowing my luck, I'd be 151 and be like, too bad, so sad, Sam. You can't make it in. I don't care what you are going to do and get around it. You're just not going to meet the God in New Jersey. I said
it. He's not disappointing, Sam. It was one scrimmage, and I don't want to take a lot out of it just because it's 90% of the players in that scrimmage will never make the league or never make a big impact in the league. So I don't want to take too much out of it. But, I mean, the Devils have pretty good prospects now, especially with 11 picks in this past draft. I believe 9 of them are in this prospect camps. And then other prospects, Riley Walsh was on his team, so that definitely helped. But, Walsh is good. Smith is amazing. McLeod looked really good, which we'll get to in a minute. But, it's not like he was playing against scrubs. He was playing against good players. But he's not going to be able to replicate what he did today in the NHL. He's not going to be able to stiff arm a defender in the NHL yet. He doesn't have the weight behind him on those. Nico is just getting to that point now after 2 years of building weight, and Nico is 2 inches taller than Hughes. So I think that there is going to be a little bit more of an adjustment period eventually because he still has some of those habits where he was just dominating, and he's not going to learn those in this prospect camp. But Hughes is a very smart player. That's what I like most about Hughes. Better than the speed, better than the skills that he shows, better than his shot, which are all elite level for his age. But what my favorite thing about him is his hockey smarts. He makes really good decisions, I'd say 85% of the time. And for an 18-year-old player, you just don't get that anymore. That's just not something you see a lot. That was my number one reason why I wanted Hughes over Kakko, is because Hughes just seemed to make the right decision, and Kakko made the flashy decision, which it sometimes was the right decision, and then it looked amazing, and he scored a goal. But when Hughes is making the right decision on the breakout, he's making the right decision, on the pass from the boards. He's making the right decision in the board battles. He's making the right decision on when to pass. He's making all of the right decisions. We saw that today. I did mention that one time where he passed it through the legs and went right to a defender. And I don't think he's going to do that in an NHL game because he knows that's not what he's going to be able to do. He's going to adjust his game because he's that smart. So I liked what I saw today. I did. I thought it showed he's ready to be in the NHL because he was a man amongst boys. He literally looked like, if Wayne Gretzky went to a Pee Wee game today, that's what it looked like. He just looked like he was holding the puck for as long as he wanted to. He was skating around. He waited for every wide open pass and he made it, and he even scored a goal. So we saw everything possible from Jack Hughes, and it was great.
Are you saying, because that was that whole controversy, and I'm hoping that I'm not stealing your lines right now, Nick. Are you saying that with, in the world, championships, that, Jack Hughes is playing with men for the first time, and Kakko is so experienced, and that's why he's having a tremendous tournament? Are you telling me that Jack Hughes is playing with the big boys and he's just toying with them right now?
There was NHL players here. Cini was there. Anderson was there. These are players that the Devils wanted to be NHL players last year and play a long-term role. They both got hurt. So, take that for what it is. But McLeod played 21 games last year. Bastian would have played more if he was, if he didn't get hurt. That was the theme of last year, was just everybody got hurt, obviously. But these were NHL players. These were players on an NHL roster. Say what you want about the Devils after the trade deadline. They were playing in the NHL. most of them look like they at least deserve to be there at points and deserve like they belonged at a time, at least for fourth line role. So I think that for Hughes to come in and to just look far and away, and this is what you wanted. You wanted your number 1 overall pick to look far and away the best guy today. Not even close. There wasn't even a doubt in anybody's mind. He was the man today.
Well, and here's the follow-up question to that. With playing with bigger and faster players than what he's normally used to. I mean, these are young kids here, but some are a little bit older and this and that. You don't think, just with the limited video you saw on the live stream by with the Devils, which I thought they did a very good job with, he can play with men, and he can play with players that are much stronger at an NHL level. Would you agree with that?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that he can absolutely play with men. He could absolutely play with people on the NHL level, because he knows that, everybody's talking about that stiff arm play, and that was just one of the many plays, but he knows how to get under the players trying to play his body. He knows how to how to dip, dive, duck, dodge. Shout out to Patches O'Houlihan, rest in peace. It's just he was very, very, very good at positioning, at like hockey IQ, like I said, but it just kind of getting into the spaces and getting underneath and getting towards the net. I mean, every big play I saw him, he either skated around a person, skated under a person, or skated right towards the net. He was just out of this world, Sam.
Hey, you know what? I got some audio of from camp. I had some exclusive audio of Jack Hughes doing a little trash talking around the ice. He was circling around with the puck, and he was yelling,
"Hey, where's the meat?"
Because he doesn't care how big you are. He'll just skate right around you, right? Did you hear that audio, Nick? Did you hear? Yeah.
I've heard it. I've heard it quite often, Sam. It's now becoming your tagline.
Oh, I know. You know what? I forgot to bring my meat stick. I've been eating meat sticks and beef jerky since that whole "I want beef" segment. Which, by the way, on YouTube Live, I saw some comment yesterday that someone actually agreed with me. Sam Woo, I agree with you. I want some beef too, and it got me hungry. Like, it really got me hungry. So I should start eating my beef sticks on air, because I'll tell you what, Bastian looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. He's got some size. He's got some grit. And hey, how about that goal he scored? I hate to say garbage goal, but these are kind of goals that win you championships and Stanley Cups. What do you think about that? I think that's a good start to camp for that young kid.
Oh yeah, I mean, Nathan Bastian is a guy who's going to try to make the team out of camp. He's one of probably we're probably at about 9 or 10. It's crazy. It's probably it's going to be one of the most fun training camps we've had in a long time, because there's about 2 spots open and a lot of decision making for 2 forwards. Based on what I see right now, barring any injuries, knock on wood, anything like that, I see 2 spots that are wide open for the likes of, Boquist, Bastian, McLeod, Anderson, Rooney, Anderson, a lot of these guys, even Studenik, and, even, he's not playing this week, but, Zetterlund, the Swede, he played against men last year and he got hurt, and he's nursing a knee injury. He's kind of playing. He didn't play in this tournament. He's doing a little bit here and there. So I think he's on the road to recovery. He's not completely healed yet, but he's another guy. Watch out. He could pull a Jesper Bratt and kind of surprise everybody and make this team as a 19-year-old. So I think everybody understands that the Devils. So we need to remember that year that Jesper Bratt made the team. That year that Jesper Bratt made the team, surprising everybody, we thought we were going to send him back to Sweden. He ended up making the NHL team, And it started at development camp. He was so good at development camp that, and that was the year I believe that Hischer was the development camp. But Bratt was the guy. He got everybody talking. Everybody's like, "Whoa!" And we were paying attention because Hischer was there. But then Bratt caught our eye, and we're like, "Whoa, who's this kid? That's that 6th-round pick that we just signed to the 3-year entry level." That we're like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." And then he carried that momentum into the prospect challenge in Buffalo, and then continued to dominate in the preseason. And he gave the Devils no choice but to put him on the team. So back to your original point, that I think players like Bastian know that it is up for grabs and they could make the NHL roster. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of these guys are on deals that pay them almost 4 times their salary for every NHL game that they play in than it does in the AHL. So they have a very large monetary incentive to look really good right now. And Bastian looked like a kind of guy that we need. If they're we did get Wayne Simmons, and he's the beef, like you said, and he could play that underneath role, get garbage goals. But, Simmons has a really good shot, and he could play other roles. We don't need him to play that. If we wanted to get a guy who was just like Boyle, who could, just stand underneath, get in front of the goalie, get in his way, and then have a really good instinct to put the puck in the net when it's underneath, maybe a shot from, maybe a Ty Smith, maybe a Will Butcher, whoever it ends up being. Bastian could play that role really well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I got to talk to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Periscope, and also on Let's Go Devils, streaming live on letsgodevils.com. Remember just about a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to take a line from Joe Stanslow that said in the Facebook Live group, trash talking is chirping. I'm going to chirp a little bit here.
Oh, boy.
After seeing just about 30 minutes of video of development camp, does anybody want Gusev right now and start making trades? Because I'll tell you what, I kind of like these young kids, and you made a great point, Nick, about Jesper Bratt. It started with development camp a couple years ago, and he made the team. Now he's in the lineup. So you never know what's going to come out of these camps. Even undrafted free agents, guys if you never heard of, these guys are just putting everything on the line just for that 1% chance of breaking into an NHL lineup. And I love to see the competition. I love seeing talent. And by the way, I heard some great stuff about Ty Smith today. What are your thoughts on him in camp today?
Here's the thing. If Jack Hughes wasn't in camp, we'd be talking about 4 players and being really, really, really excited. So Jack Hughes was kind of like just, I don't know if you want to call him the cherry on top or whatever, but, I heard that there was 4 players who stood out besides Hughes, and Ty Smith was one of them. Ty Smith, another guy, he's ready. He's so ready. He's just ready to be an NHL player. There's no reason to put him back in juniors. His growth as far as a juniors player, I believe, is done. I think that we've seen negatives in sending a guy back to juniors when he's ready for the NHL, or at least he's ready for professional hockey. Unfortunately, the WHL, NHL transfer rules don't allow players like that to go to the AHL and grow there. They either have to go to juniors in the NHL. But I think Ty Smith can easily play on the Devils' third line. I think that's why they're not going after a guy like, Jake Gardner right now, because they have Smith. And Smith almost made the team last year. I didn't think he had a chance because they had Yakovlev, they had Lovejoy, they had Santini, they had just there was too many bodies that needed to play in the NHL. And, it wasn't going to work out to where they can bring up this juniors kid. And I kind of thought that being average to below average, being a lottery team, was somewhat the plan last year. I think they would have been surprised and happy if a player like John Quenneville stepped up and scored 15 goals, helped them play better, and everybody stayed healthy. And they had a perfect season like the one they had before. But I think they saw what was available on the trade market and on the free agency market, and they said, this isn't the year to go for it. Let's just take a step back. Let's see what we have in these young kids. Let's get them experience because it's only going to make us better in the long run. Because they knew that even if they traded for Carlson last year, they weren't a lock to make the, even advance in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they were like, hey, let's take a step back. Let's get these kids some experience. And I think that it's going to be better for them in the long run. But I keep going on tangents, Sam. I apologize. I'm very excited about the prospects. I love the prospects. I love them.
Here, I'll go on a tangent too. This one's dedicated to Beer Baron. Let me cue up the music real quick. I want to dedicate this to Beer Baron because I can't find this this. Oh, here it is. Hopefully it's all queued up. So let me just ease this music in. So I texted Devil's Diehard big admin Rob Klobosis, and I'll read it word for word. Could you tell me how Mikey McLeod did in camp? All right, so this is dedicated to Beer Baron of the Let's Go Devils podcast. He looked crisp. He was on mark with his assists on 3 versus 3. He was getting to the puck fast and seemed to find the open man a lot, and he also fired at the net too. Well, you know what, Rob? That's great to hear. And do you know who's going to really love that? Beer Baron, because he wants some chirping material for next season, season 3. That's good to hear. You know what? I think Mikey McLeod, this is his year to really take a big step forward. It doesn't have to be a gigantic step, but we need to see progress. We need to see that first round talent being displayed. I'm glad to hear that. After last year, playing some NHL games, we got to see him, let him grow on his own. I think he will do well. Just keep with the process. Just keep on going. So, but sorry, I had to do that because I know Beer Baron may be watching, and I want to make sure that I got that in, that, we thought about him.
Yeah, I mean, McLeod looked really good today. For what he is, I will say that McLeod he was the best at the things he's best at. You still need Mikey McLeod to score goals and to work on his shot a little bit and his confidence in his shot, because he wasn't taking enough shots, and he was taking shots. He was a little hesitant, and today I just didn't see the shots. I saw him distribute on an elite level for development camp. I saw him just pass the puck. He was just really good at it. He was really, really good at playing center. Now, the problem with that, Sam, is that we got like 10 centers. Right now the NHL centers are former first overall pick Nico Hischier, current first overall pick Jack Hughes, former first round pick and one of the longest tenured Devils Travis Zajac, and former sixth overall pick Pavel Zacha. And then beyond Zacha, you got Kevin Rooney, Blake Coleman can play center. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. I think that McLeod could easily move and be a playmaking winger. But where he fits, I think we saw last year that giving him like 7 to 8 minutes a game is not best for his development. So I think the best option for him is to send him down to Binghamton, have him work on his shot, work on your shot over and over and over and over. Have Dennehy just work on his shot over and over, because he has NHL distribution skills. His distribution skills are NHL level. He can get assists. He can get the puck to where it needs to be on the pass. He just needs to work on that pure offensive numbers game. So I think, when you come out of this camp, McLeod for me was the second headline, even more than Boquist, who looked really good, even more than Smith, who looked really good, even more than Bastion, even more than a lot of these guys, because McLeod is the guy that a lot of people have given up on completely, 100% done with him, have called him a failed draft pick, a bust. He's 21. We can't call him that yet. He's just old enough to have a beer with Beer Baron. So I think that see what we see today. I think it shows that he learned a lot from last season. I think he's kind of taking this offseason to hopefully, what I said he needs to do is just watch tape, watch all of the tape, learn from your mistakes, learn from your last season, learn from going 21 games without a goal in the NHL level. And I think he did that. I do think that it's best for him to start in Binghamton, based on what I saw today, because there are some things that I'd still like him to work on before he becomes an NHL regular. But based on what I saw today, I think that his upside is higher. I'm more confident that he's going to make the NHL one day and be a regular NHLer.
Yeah. Now, switching gears, what did you think about Riley Walsh in camp? I think I saw an article. I don't know if it was Chris Ryan or Abby Mastraka. I forgot. I was speed reading all throughout the afternoon that Riley Walsh looked pretty good with Jack Hughes.
It's hard. He was fine. I'm having trouble rating the guys because like Ty Thompson looks like an elite forward playing with Jack Hughes. I'm having trouble rating the guys that play with Hughes because Hughes was just so dominant. Walsh is a really good player. He's a really good defenseman. He's taking over Adam Fox's role now that Adam Fox is a Ranger, and he's going to be probably the top guy at Harvard. He's in his junior season. I think he's committed to going to the NHL next year. I think that he looked good, but I think we're grading him on a scale because he played with Hughes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like a bell curve when you play with Jack Hughes, right? It's if anybody remembers what a bell curve is back in college, it's like yeah. So
I remember what a bell curve looks like.
Yeah, I think I remember I flunked an accounting exam in college, but everybody else did. But I was like in middle of the pack, so I wound up getting a C. It's like, how's that work? How's that work?
Yeah, that's how my business law class was. So I understand completely. You just had to just be average, Sam. That's what college teaches you. College teaches you to at least just be average.
Yeah, and how to deal with the BS that life throws at you, that too, because that's part of the challenge. But anyway, that's getting off topic of the State of the Fan Address, episode 12. We're talking about 2019 Devils Development Camp. So fans were filing in, fans were watching. I saw a billion pictures, but overall, there's a buzz in the organization right now, and just winning that lottery did so many things for the New Jersey Devils. Drafting Jack Hughes changed the entire mindset. It went from like, here we go again, same old Devils, and then Bill Daly flipping that number one or that who got it. And it was like, oh, this is something to build on. We've got 2 elite centers for the next, how many years? 2 first overalls, and how often does that happen? Oh, yeah, and we have a first overall winger for now, Taylor Hall. But, and again, the whole thing with Taylor Hall, we talked about that on the season finale on the Let's Go Devils podcast. Let it play out. Just let it play out. I think Taylor Hall knows that something special is going on here. But you know what? Just let it play out. Let's see where the chips may fall. But right now, what we're seeing here and the mirage right now I'm seeing, this is the beginning of a potential dynasty in the NHL. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But let's manage the expectations. But yeah, those are my thoughts so far on development camp, Nick.
Well, I
So
kind of
I'm
want to
pretty
touch
happy.
on the Taylor Hall thing just a bit, if we can, just because there's news about it. I don't know if it's
Okay.
actual news, but so I didn't think it was anything. I kind of was
Okay.
like ho hum. But Puxy Pitchforks writer Tyler Kelly made a good point to me, and I'm a man that can admit when I'm wrong. I don't know if I was wrong here, but it definitely opened my eyes because I first saw it with Abby with NorthJersey.com tweet about John Hines talking about Taylor Hall, saying he likes what he sees so far. He's very excited. He's very excited to play the season. And then Hines said something curious. He said that right now Hall, I believe he said, let me try to get the exact wording for you guys because I don't want to misquote Mr. Hall here. Well, actually, I would be misquoting Mr. Hines, but let's see where it is. Okay,
Wow.
so John Hines said that yes, Hall is still mulling over a contract decision. Okay, that sounds like status quo, to take a term from the guy in the island. But Tyler told when I said that, it's like, oh well, this sounds a lot like what we've heard from Ray and what we've heard from Taylor in the past, that they haven't discussed anything, everything is hunky dory. And then I was like, I don't think that Hines would let the cat out of the bag if there was a contract extension. And then Tyler said to me, well, if anybody was going to do it, I think it would be the head coach. So the fact of the matter is, it says Hall is still mulling over a contract decision. Yet everything we've heard from Ray and from Taylor up until this point is that there's been no decision to discuss. So a lot of people are starting to think that maybe there's been an offer. Maybe they have, the last time I guess they talked about this was right after the draft. Ray talked with Elliot Friedman, and he said, we haven't discussed it yet. I want to make other offseason moves, and we haven't seen offseason moves since the Wayne Simmons signing on July 1st. So, that's been what, 9 days. 9 days of no moves. So maybe he's in that point. Maybe they spoke. Hey, this is the team. What do you think? Maybe he says he likes it. Maybe Ray is like, here's my first offer. Maybe it's 8 for 9 just to get the ball rolling or something. Or maybe they're not even talking about that number. Maybe they're just talking about, hey, do you want 8 years? Do you want 6 years? Do you want 5 years? And then maybe he's like, well, I still need to decide. And that might be why the Devils haven't made any moves. Maybe Hall is kind of holding the things up because maybe that Gusev move is going to be, hey, this is the last piece. We're going to give up future assets when we already give up next year's second-round pick for this guy because we think that he's going to make the team better in the long term. And we like him as a second-line left wing. But if he's first to play first-line left wing, the year after next when Hall is gone, then we're in a bad spot. So maybe that's what's holding these up is we're waiting to see if Hall is going to be the left wing. I'm just curious what your thoughts on this is, Sam, because am I looking too far into the wording of what Hines said? Because, like I said, I wasn't thinking about it, but then I saw Mike Morial write about it, and I believe I saw another writer write about it. So, people seem to be thinking that this means something.
Well, it's tough. I mean, I hate speculating, honestly. I hate speculating. And, it could be a play on words. And sometimes I think the media, just including us, if you consider us media, but kind of overthink
something.
things. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to overthink it, okay? Obviously, this is probably the biggest decision thus far in Taylor Hall's career. If he's mulling over it, or there's no decision made, the bottom line is nothing's been done, right? It doesn't matter if Ray has offered or he is hesitating. Look, Zach Parise hesitated for how many freaking days to the point where Lou couldn't respond back that he was bolting, right? It takes time. It's about family. It's about, where you want to be entrenched. You're talking, I mean, do you remember, Nick, when you first applied to all these colleges and you got all these acceptances and you were just mulling over, okay, this college costs this much, or this college is a big party school, beer drinking, whatever, and it doesn't cost that much, but the education is not as great, and it's going to affect my earned income in the next 10, 20 years. You mull over it. It is humanly natural. I just don't want to overthink it. What it means is he's thinking about it. So to take a line of Dumb and Dumber, so you're telling me there's a chance? Well, I'm telling you there's a big fat chance he'll say yes. But then again, he can say no. But the fact is, the Devils have exclusive talking rights to him right now. They can talk to him, and talk to him before any other team, and Ray's not wasting any time. I see that as a good sign if he did make an offer, because at least there's dialogue going and there's no radio silence between them. That's all you can hope for as a New Jersey Devils fan. And Nick, you asked for my opinion. I just gave it to you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to talk to some of these Facebookers. There's a lot of the comments are flying in. David Decker, not high on Hall, Sam. David Decker says that he wants Hall to go away. He calls him injury prone. He says he's a great player with great skills. And yes, I think he is a great player with great skills. But the problem with this is that he's MVP caliber. And you know why I know that? Because he won it. He won the MVP. He's the MVP player. So I don't want to lose an MVP player, at least not for nothing. If he doesn't want to be here, that's something. Although, Sam, everything I've heard forever has been that Hall loves it in New Jersey. He loves playing with this team. Even in that go home press conference that he held, where he said that the Devils need to get more talent, and he was very non-committal to this team. He still said he loved everything about this locker room, everything about John Hines, everything about the players in there. He just said he needed more talent. And guess what? Wayne Simmons, PK Subban, Jack Hughes, Jesper Boquist, going on and on and on is more talent. He got more talent. And I don't think he's done. Even if he is, which again, I want to specify, I don't think he's done. There's another move to make. And I think it's a move that we can't think of. I literally went through roster after roster after roster to try to think of the under-the-radar guy. The first person I pointed to was Tyson Barrie, but then he got traded to Toronto. So I did this like a little over a week ago to try to find the under-the-radar guy. Then we went Gusto for Gusev. But beyond that, either way, I think that Taylor Hall is a guy, he's a player that you don't want to lose at all. You're definitely not going to lose him for nothing. Worst comes to worst, he's going to get a massive, massive, massive trade package for the Devils. Something crazy. Max Pacioretty is nowhere near as good as Hall, and he got a really good package for Montreal. So Hall is going to get something nuts. So let's look at a couple of these other Facebook comments real quick. Trade him if he doesn't sign soon from Russell. Russell, you're absolutely right. You got to trade him if he doesn't sign soon because, we're going to have an article on Pucks and Pitchforks probably in the morning about when is the deadline for Hall to sign. Because I've seen some people say as early as July 15th. I've seen some people say as late as the offseason, and you just got to wait for a guy that's good. I'll give you guys a clue. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of that. It's not going to be July 15th, but it's also not going to be after the season. It's got to be somewhere in between that, and we're going to play around with that. Joseph says if he does not sign by the start of the season or is dealt, when will his value be the highest? That's a hard question to answer, Joseph, because his value would be the highest if he's playing as well as he did his MVP season, and it's at the trade deadline. But that was when his value would be the highest. But if he gets another knee injury, then his value is, not high at all. So you kind of have to play that game. Sean says you play out the year and live with the end result. I do not agree with that, Sean. I think that if he doesn't want to be here, or even if he says he wants to be here and he's not committing, I think you got to move him. And then Jersey Joe, Pucks and Pitchforks writer, don't forget Mikhail Maltsev, a guy that could be a dark horse in New Jersey's lineup this season, similar to Bratt. I like Maltsev, but I think he needs a year getting used to, and we say this a lot, and we've seen, I know Sam said this to Gusev, where you got to get used to that NHL ice. I think Maltsev, he doesn't have the skill to translate to get over all of the obstacles that he's going to have this year. I think he's going to be a good player for us one day. But Sam, you're back.
Oh, I'm definitely back. Do you know why I'm back? Do you know where I went?
Where'd you go?
I went to the Bobby's Auto Care hotline and I dialed up Vinnie Parise, one of your Pucks and Pitchforks writer. Well, he's on the line right now. Vinny, you are on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. How are you, man?
I'm good, Sam. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. So
we're good, Vinny.
What are we talking? Yeah, what are we talking about today, Nick? Sorry, I lost my production sheet, the rundown. What are we talking to Vinny about today?
Well, Sam.
Sorry. I just blew that one, didn't I?
It's okay. It's okay. The transition, we will work through the transition. We will power through. But Vinny, we've been talking a lot of developmental camp. We talked a little Taylor Hall, but for at least a week and a half, I feel like the Devils in these sly rumor sites are the and these legitimate analysts are kind of vaguely tying them to offer sheets. And, I am vehemently against most offer sheets. But, a lot of people are saying, let's go get Mitch Marner. The fan base seems split. So, Vinny, I want to know, what do you think about the possibility of the New Jersey Devils going after Mitch Marner, giving up those 4 first-round picks, stealing him from Toronto, and that would give the Devils a 1-2 punch at center left wing of Hall and Nico and Hughes and Marner. So tell me your thoughts.
Well, they keep getting tied into these offer sheet deals because they have lots of cap space and they have, the money to pay Marner and a bunch of guys coming off the books here soon. But as far as giving up 4 first-round picks for Marner, I really take a step back at that idea. I don't know. I'm team I would give up 4 first-round picks for 3 players in the NHL, and that's Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and Nate McKinnon. I can't give past giving up 4 first-round picks because you never know. What if one of those picks is a lottery pick or something? I'm against it for Marner.
So, and I don't want to stick on this question for too long, but just out of curiosity, because you kind of gave me an idea based on what you said, would you trade if the Colorado Avalanche came to you right now and said, I'll give you 4 first-round picks for Jack Hughes right now? Do you take it?
Ooh, you got me on that one. I would say no, I would not take it. Just because if Colorado got Jack Hughes, they would have. Well, that's different because it's not an offer sheet. Like Colorado's pick is probably going to be anywhere from 25 to 31 over the next 4 years. Jack Hughes would be their second line center behind Nate, and then they have Kadri. That's Pittsburgh Penguins level stuff.
I just wanted to play devil's advocate. Let's go devil's advocate. Let's say on that one real quick. But going back to Marner, so So you don't want to give the four. You just said you don't want to give the 4 first-round picks. The Devils can't make any other really offer sheet to Marner because, one, he has to accept it. I know a lot of people think that you could just send these offer sheets and it's almost like a trade. It's not. It's more like it says free agency. So he'd had to accept it. So he's not going to accept a $6 million a year offer sheet or anything else that would be less than the 2 firsts, the second, and the third. But, I mean, Marner is... If you put Marner on this team, I think this is now a Stanley Cup level team if you get good goaltending at a Mackenzie Blackwood. You don't think that that's worth whatever the price costs?
Well, I do think it's tough because I think anything that would be worth it for Marner as far as a contract, the Leafs would match. So you would be giving contract to Marner that's more than what he's worth on top of 4 first-round picks. If the Devils offer sheeted Marner 11.5 tomorrow, the Leafs would probably match it. You would think they would for sure match it. So,
well, I mean, how can they? They don't have the money.
Well, that's why they haven't signed him yet.
That's fair. So, is there anybody else out there that you think that, let's ignore Gusev because we spent the whole podcast talking about Gusev. Is there anybody else out there, in this pool of restricted free agents that you think the Devils should go after? One guy I haven't heard a lot about, and I think it's because the Avalanche just have all of the cap space, but I haven't heard a lot about Mikko Rantanen being a offer sheet guy. Is there anybody out there that is an offer sheet guy that you'd like them to see them go after?
I love Matthew Tkachuk. That kid is awesome, and he proved he could run his own line in Calgary last year. And if he would probably get the opportunity to play with Hughes, and he might not cost as much as Marner, he would cost a lot. And I love Marner. I think Marner's amazing. I agree with you. If they added either of those two guys to the Devils, they would be a Stanley Cup contender. It's just always a little weird to think about giving up 4 first-round picks, but I'm not sure you would have to for Matthew Tkachuk. But, yeah, he'd be my guy.
Okay. What do you think he would cost?
I would probably say 9.5 to 10.
Oof.
It depends what you think of Matthew Tkachuk. Because he had more points than Mark Stone last year, and Mark Stone got 9.5. And I think Mark Stone's a way better player than Matthew Tkachuk. He gives up some points. He leaves points on the table to play a solid 200-foot game. But I don't know. I think he's gonna be a heavy contract player.
All right. So, and I got to give credit where credit is due. Ramona Rice in the comment section, and I've seen this on a couple other people float this idea. She says Hall for Marner. Would you do Hall for Marner straight up, knowing that the Leafs are just going to go for it, do it all? They can't, if Marner doesn't, he's sticking to his number, and the Leafs don't want to match it. Would you turn Taylor Hall into Mitch Marner?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If Hall was leaving, and there was no chance that he was staying, oh yeah, Mitch Marner for Taylor Hall, 1-for-1 all day.
You got to get more in return. You can't trade Taylor Hall for Marner straight up. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, look, if Vinny, I agree with you that if you trade Hall for Marner, Toronto's got to add something back into the mix. You can't do that straight up. Not with the Hart Trophy.
Do you think Jack Hughes is going to be better than John Tavares?
Yeah, I think he will, but I mean, it's too early to tell.
I do too, though, and so if he is, and he got a guy like Marner on his wing, Marner scored 94 points with Tavares. If he got a playmaker like Hughes, or even if he played on the top line with Heishier and you put Hughes with somebody else, I think Mitch Marner is amazing.
Now, here's my problem: is this Devils team a lock to make the playoffs with Marner? Because I don't think they are. If you take off Hall and you replace him with Marner, I don't think they're a playoff team.
I wouldn't say they're a lock. If everything goes right, like it did in 2017, I think they could be a playoff team. If Schneider and Blackwood play well in net and Ty Smith hits the ground running and Will Butcher gets his normal 30 points, Heishier finally breaks 60, we'll say Hughes is in the Calder Trophy running, I would think a bunch of things would have to go right for them to be a playoff team next year.
Well, that being said, I think we've beaten offer sheets into the ground, and I agree with you. I was kind of playing, let's go devil's advocate. I guess that could be my character from now on, Sam. Maybe you could be Sam Lou. I'll be let's go devil's advocate. But hey, that was a good joke. I make good jokes. I'm a funny guy, a funny guy. But anyway, we're cutting into Vinny's time, so I want to move on from offer sheets. Michael Furlan got signed today, so I think free agency is, and Marcus Johansson went to the Buffalo Sabres, so I think there's nothing left in free agency to even worth talking about. I heard a couple of people say Ryan Zingle, but no thank you, I'll pass, hard pass. So I want to talk to you, Vinny, real quick before we let you go about today's prospect camp. First, I want to know, what were your initial thoughts of the development camp?
Jack Hughes is so much better than every player his age in the organization. He looked like, he looked so much more advanced than everybody else there. He was dangling around people and making everyone look like, not number one overall picks. That's probably the biggest takeaway. But we kind of expected that.
No, we did. But was there anybody who you saw today who caught your eye that you didn't expect?
Well, every time we make roster predictions for next year and put lines together, I've always had Nathan Bastian in there. I loved I thought he was awesome last year when everyone was injured. I'm all for him making this team, and he looked awesome today. And everyone who was actually there was tweeting all day about how good he was. And he's the kind of under-the-radar guy. Like, you hear about Ty Smith, you hear about Boquist, Hughes, obviously. We've heard Joey Anderson and McLeod for a couple years now. Nathan Bastian could be a really good third or fourth line player.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Sam agree. I think that Sam, yeah. I'm gonna let you take it because you're the big guy on Bastian.
Yeah, Vinny, I couldn't agree more with your assessment. I mean, I just typed in the Facebook Live that we need defense and beef, and that's what Bastian brings to the table. And when you're looking at building this roster, having a young kid like that is hungry and beefy and has some talent, you want to see him make the team. I mean, you want to root for those guys. Remember Randy McKay? Randy McKay made a living with his fists, but later in his career, he put some pretty nice goals in and brought that toughness. And I think that's what the Devils need right now. They need toughness. So I couldn't agree with you more, Vinny, about Bastian.
Yeah, Mike Rupp had a Stanley Cup game-winning goal, a series-clinching goal.
That's
and
true.
If we watch the Cup this year, Boston and St. Louis both had big, physical, fast fourth lines. And if you put Nathan Bastian on Boston's fourth line, he'd look awesome there. He would look just like anybody else. So I'm all for him making the team this year. I'd love to see him impress in training camp and training camp, and then the preseason. That would be awesome to see him make the team.
Well, Vinny, this will be my last question for you. Once again, just tying to development camp. We were talking about there's about a 10-person battle, to make. I'm counting the last two spots After seeing what you saw from, I want to talk about this because we haven't touched on this guy today, and we have some people clamoring for it. After what you saw from Jesper Boquist today, do you think Jesper Boquist is guaranteed one of those spots if they are available as they are as currently constructed?
I'm going to say yes, because he needs to be given the opportunity in a top 6 role. I'm not really a fan of him and making the team if it's not going to be the case. I'd rather him go play for Binghamton if that were the case. But yeah, I would say yes. I like him and Bastion to be those 2 roster spots you mentioned. Obviously, we're assuming Hughes makes it, and then Ty Smith on defense. But as far as the 2 forward positions you referenced, I would say yes to Boquist making it.
All right, Vinny. Well, I mean, we really appreciate your insight here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. State of the Fan address. We're gonna have you back multiple times during the summer because we're gonna have a lot to talk about. Make sure you read Vinny on the Pucks and Pitchfork website. He's got a lot of good content up right now. And Vinny, you got anything to plug? You got anything coming up good this week?
I'm just keeping on the summer hockey thread, just keeping up with the roster moves if there are any, and promoting the young kids, getting ready for Hughes. I think Nico Hischier is going to explode this season, so we'll have some stuff on that. Yeah. At Vinnie Parise on Twitter.
Oh yeah, definitely follow at Vinnie Parise. He's gonna hit you with the gifts. He's gonna hit you with the he's got a lot going on this summer. So definitely love having Vinnie on.
Love having Vinny on. He's a good guy, man. I mean, I'm starting to develop this. I feel like I'm like starting to become one of his fans because he puts out a lot of content out on Pucks and Pitchforks, and over the last 6 months, it's like it's really grown on me that anytime he puts out an article, I've got to read it. I've got to read his blog.
I mean, Vinny is one of my favorite. I don't want to say this because we got the writers at Pucks and Pitchforks. I'm proud of all of them. They've all come a long way, and they're all growing with each article, and I see them getting better and better. But Vinny is a guy who, when he first started, I was like, okay, I could see the framework of a writer here. I could see the framework of a guy who could be a really good blogger, whatever you want to call us. He has something here. I could see the talent. We just need to, make tweaks and make tweaks and make tweaks. And, his 1-year anniversary on the site is next month. He started in August of 2018. And I swear to God, I've never seen a writer go from what he was to what he is now, where I could literally just hit publish when I get his articles. I don't have to edit them at all because, he's just got it down. And, he's writing for 2 other websites. He writes for 2 other fan-sided websites, one on the Chicago White Sox and one on Chicago sports in general. So go check him out there too. If you're big into baseball, he's big into baseball. So, hey, he's doing it. He's just doing it. That's all I could say.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, Vinnie Parise went into, to Nick's Pucks and Pitchforks development camp. You see what happens after a year? Totally different writer. I'm telling you, last 3 months, he's grown on me when I've been, reading his blogs. He's definitely grown on me. So, and I'm not just saying that just to keep on plugging, but you know what? He's one of my favorites, on the blog. So, and also
he's definitely a machine.
And I completely agree with him with some of his assessment and development camp as well. So that definitely helps your cause, Vinny. But
that helps. So Vinny, we're getting past that hour mark. So we're probably gonna let the people go to sleep soon. We're gonna let it go onto the iTunes so they can download it and listen to it again on their morning drive. Make sure you leave us comments. Give us 5 stars on the iTunes page so more people could see the Let's Go Devils podcast. But I want to leave you with this. I'm seeing rumors around that Lindsey Vonn is talking about buying a house with PK in the good old Garden State.
Wow.
They said that at the ESPYs tonight. Are you? So obviously, And I've been mulling over writing about this because, it's something that interests me. So I'm definitely going to do it now, and we'll tag the podcast. That'll be our podcast tag piece. But now we've been talking about this PK Subban contract going off the books in 3 years, right? And we're like, oh, it's perfect because when we had to pay Jack Hughes, PK Subban's contract is off the table. But what do you think about making PK, a decade Devil, having him spend his formative years in the NHL with Jersey's team?
You're asking me? I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. I mean, he brings a lot of personality. He is. Hey, did you see that video? That video of him, taking that puck around other pucks, doing that drill.
That was a thing of beauty. That was a thing of beauty, Sam.
That was sick. I'm like, wow. Not only does he wear a bikini well on 4th of July, but he can play hockey too. Who wouldn't want PK for 10 years? I mean, seriously. But yeah, I mean, look, PK and Lindsay buying a house in New Jersey. Hey, if you're watching and listening right now, I could show you around. There's Morristown area. There is Bergen County. There is, there's all sorts of places. But you want them to buy a home in New Jersey. Don't go across the river, near that dump called Madison Square Garden. Don't go over there. That's all I have to say, But yeah, I mean, look, he's obviously committed. I think he probably feels like, that there is a chance of a cup, possibly multiple cups. I mean, that young nucleus. I mean, again, it all goes back to winning that lottery changed the mindset in New Jersey. It completely changed the whole dynamics. Now everyone's excited to be here because the potential of dynasty is there. But we gotta take a step back first. Let's get through development camp. Let's get everybody healthy for training camp, because right now on paper this team has so much potential right now. I would want to buy a house in New Jersey too if I was coming from Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, Nashville's a good team too, but this Devils team, it's just, Sam, I'm salivating. I just want the season to start, Sam.
You know what? I know right now, and I'm talking to all you Devils fans right now, calling it right now. This team, this nucleus, 2 to 3 years from now is not only going to be good, it's going to be scary good. Scary good. And you know what scary good is? Where it's routine to go to the Prudential Center and see another Devils victory. And they're going to do it in a different way each and every night. Has the potential, but again, I can't wait till the season starts, Nick. I can't wait till the season starts. We're already planning our live events, which, by the way, I need to talk to you off air because, these Let's Go Devils podcast live events, which, of course, we are going to invite our brothers on the platform, the State of the Fan address, to these events. But it's starting to come together, and man, you should see the venues we're talking to right now. I gotta tell you, I'm getting even excited thinking about that while all of us gather around and watch Jack Hughes score a hat trick at one of our events.
Oh, that would be the best.
Yeah.
I will. I love me some hats. I'm not wearing my hat for the first time on the Let's Go Devils podcast, State of the Fan address. So it's a weird feeling for me, but I will be wearing a hat at our fan meet and greets. And if Jack Hughes gets a hat trick, I will lose the hat and I will take the hit for the team and I will throw it in the air and it'll be well worth it.
Joe Stansler writes, scary good is when you see 4 lines behave like 4 first lines that can score every game. Yeah, but you know what? I would like to add to that, but all 4 lines have to have different personalities to get that balance. That's as equally as effective. I mean, you know, you want a fourth line that can bang and score at the same time. You want your first line to just actually outskill and outdo the entire opponent's team. You know, that's what you want. You want roll 4 lines with 4 different personalities that the Devils can beat you in 4 different ways. That's what you want. And then you want a defense. I mean, I want to see Ty Smith back there now. I don't want to rush him, but I want to see him there right now, Nick. I want to see him back there now. Not tomorrow, now.
Right now.
He's looking good. He's looking good, man.
Hey, if they were on a West Coast road trip right now, we'd be watching Devils hockey. So, you know, in about 3 months, we'll be seeing him right now. 10 o'clock at night, some Ty Smith action. And Sam, I don't think putting him in the NHL right now is rushing him, because he was ready to be in the NHL last year. It was smart not to put him there, and it was smart to give him some time to kind of work out a few kinks. Nothing too crazy, but like those small little tiny itty bitty stories, or sorry, itty bitty flaws. But I think there's no doubt he's ready now. He's ready to go. He's gonna be an NHL player this year. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah. There's just so much going on with the New Jersey Devils. I mean, there's so much going on right now. It's hard to keep up daily. You know, again, it doesn't surprise me, our hardcore fans lining up at 6 a.m., parking in the parking garage just to get a glimpse and meet Jack Hughes, meeting the future, meeting all the fun you're going to have potentially of winning cups in New Jersey. And we're, you know, holding our heads high, just like the good old days. The New Jersey Devils, they just kick your butt. And it's 5 years of suffering minus that 1 year. We've moved on. We've moved on from Martin Brodeur on the ice to, you know, off the ice. I like all the promos they're doing with Marty. It's good to see him back. He did not belong in St. Louis. He was just going there for college, okay? He never left Jersey. He just went away for college. He's back, armed with knowledge, looking at how teams do on the other side, bringing some of that talent back, and I think he's doing pretty good. So,
I think that's clear. But Sam, people did not like our suggestion that PK Subban should play here for 10 years. We're getting roasted in the comments right now.
Hey, you know what? Bring it on. Yeah. Well, you also got to think. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the closing music button, and it disappeared on me.
It's Wednesday.
I'm getting there.
You're thrown off. It's on Sunday.
I know. See, normally, you know, I do this podcast on Sunday, but now we have the state of the fan address, and I'm still getting used to the controls here, and I still can't find that freaking button. Huh. Well,
I mean, if I remembered it, I'd sing it for you, but I'm not good at the whole memory thing.
Oh, here it is. Can you hear it? Can you hear it in your ear?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
We got it. 10 years of PK. 10 years of Lindsay.
10 years.
Of Subban.
You know what? We got to reach out to them and get them on the state of the fan address. I'm going to do that's my mission tomorrow. We're going to find PK and Lindsay, bring them onto the podcast, and tell them we want you here for 10 years. 10 whole years.
They're going to get married on the ice slope at the Meadowlands. They're going to get married there. That's what's going to happen.
They're going to get married at the mall once it opens.
They're going to get married in 20 years when that mall opens. I think
all right. Well, we are going to drop the podcast after we close, probably about a half an hour later, and then download it for your afternoon drive and your morning drive. Any
Leave
last
comments.
words, Nick?
Leave comments. Leave 5 stars. 5 stars. If you give us less than 5 stars, I'm going to give you less. I'm going to shout you out less in the comment section. That's what I'm going to punish you. Give us the 5 stars. 5 stars. Remember, just
5
forget
stars.
how many stars, guys. Just look at your hand. Count the fingers. 5 stars.
All righty. Till next time, let's go Devils.